Deep copy and shallow copy in Python. In this lecture, you'll learn about the copy module. We'll talk about shallow copy and deep copy and the problems with deep copy. We'll also perform shallow copying on dictionaries. To copy something is to make an identical version of it. Python has a module called copy. This lets us make copies of objects. And as you know, everything in Python is an object. How do we do this in Python? We could assign an object to another variable, but it won't copy it. Rather bind it to that variable. But there are times when we want to make changes to a copy of something and not to the original. The copy module comes in here. Let's import it. Copy performs two kinds of copying, shallow copying and deep copying. It also raises the exception copy.error for module-specific errors. Let's first understand shallow copying. Shallow copying an object creates a new compound object and puts in it the same objects held by the original. This code imports the copy function from the copy module, so we can call it by its name. We declare a list, list1, with the value 1 and the sublist with values 2 and 3. Then we create a shallow copy of this and call it list2. When we print it, we get the same list. Try altering the value of the second item in the second item of the list, which is the sublist. When we print this new list, we can see the changes. Now when we print the original list, we can see this has been updated too. This is what's happening. We have list 1, it has the value 1 and a sublist with values 2 and 3. Now we copy it to create list 2. This holds the same objects, so any changes we make to any of these objects reflect in both lists. So shallow copying creates a new object and puts in it the same objects held by the original. Deep copying creates a new compound object and puts in it copies of the same objects held by the original. If we do the same with deep copying as we did with shallow copying, then print the value of the original list, we can see that the original list remains unaltered. List 1 has the value 1 and a sublist with values 2 and 3. When we create list 2, we store in it 1 and a sublist with values 2 and 3. Now, if we modify a value in the copy, it does not affect the original list. So you see, changes to the new object do not reflect in the original. Deep copying poses some problems. If an object contains a direct or an indirect reference to itself, it can cause a recursive loop. We've talked of recursion. To deal with this, in any one pass, it maintains a table of objects copied so far in the current pass. Secondly, since deep copying copies everything, it may also copy other data like administrative data structures. It is also slower. If we allow user-defined classes to override the copying operation or that what's copied, this can be handled. Finally, let's shallow copy a dictionary. We have a dictionary dict1, as you can observe on your screen. We create a shallow copy and call it dict2. To the value for the key C, which is a list, we append the number 7. Now, you can see the append was successful. Print and you'll see that the changes do reflect in the original dictionary as well. In place of the second statement, you can also try dict2 is dict of dict1 and try copy.copy of dict1 and see what happens. Anyway, let's perform a deep copy now. Import copy, dict1 is the same. Dict2 is the deep copy of dict1 Append 7 to the value of C. Now print dict 2. And now dict 1. You can see that the append does not reflect in this. Dict 1 and dict 2 hold different values at this moment. Shallow copying versus deep copying is a possible interview question and also one that confuses many. Keep learning and you'll soon be job ready.